Now, your depression can be situationally created or because of an unresolved conflict. If you look at the word depression, it gives you the idea of one being held down, depressed like in a straitjacket, with the inability to move, figuratively, of course. Situationally, it's as a result of one or many things falling apart in your life, a life crisis. Maybe it's because of a loss of a job or a retirement, loss of spouse, a whole bunch of things falling through. It's usually one huge disappointment or a group of several with a sense of being somewhat overwhelmed. Joe had a job with the Parks Department. He enjoyed his job, and then a new supervisor was assigned to his department, who, according to Joe, could communicate, and made Joe miserable to the point it affected his stomach. But Joe thought he had an ace up the sleeve, in that he had an invention he wanted to pursue, thinking it would provide him independence to the point he wouldn't need his job. However, when Joe got all of the particulars on patenting the invention, and then the manufacture, packaging, and marketing of the invention, it was no picnic. It took a lot longer than he anticipated. He was depending on a relative to help out, and his relative didn't pan out. During all of this, Joe took on another project of refurbishing an automobile, which turned out to be a lemon. Another disappointment. Next, he learns that his brother was hospitalized with depression, and bang, he catches that suggestion. He assumed it ran in the family, and likewise was then hospitalized with depression. He had this helpless image of himself, as if he were tied down and incapable of moving his arms and feet, like in a straitjacket. As we unfolded his disappointments and dealt with them one by one, his depression lifted as he moved beyond being his depressed situation. Shortly after retiring, Jim, at age 64, had lost his mate of 35 years, quite unexpectedly. He missed her on several levels. There was the companionship and her presence in the home, and then there was all the practical stuff like preparing meals. Every time he found himself doing one of the chores that she normally did, even if it was cleaning or washing the dishes, all the things he had taken for granted for many years, he became super depressed, as it reminded him of her. In his situation, we worked a lot with the material on the Overcome Life Crisis program, as he certainly was experiencing a life crisis. He had quite a bit of guilt for not doing many things that they wanted to do together before she passed on. He felt guilty even about missing her so much when he did the household chores. Werner Erhard, the originator of the S training that was so popular back in the 70s and 80s, said, "Whether we like it or not, there is suffering in life," and he was in favor of short-term suffering rather than long-term suffering. And this statement encapsulates our goal. Feel and experience the hurt, along with the preference options. Move beyond all the guilt in that, okay, we are human and have strange thoughts, even like we must feel depressed for the rest of our lives to somehow prove the value this person had in our lives or how important this person was. Certainly Jim had become his lost relationship, and in acknowledging that reality, he was able to let go, and in time, he was a member of Match.com.